because I thought it was super cheap anyway. So make sure you utilize that because they're basically getting every single program that we have ever created for $30. So make sure you utilize that. And then Sean T is going to be announcing his new program on May 12th, I believe it is.
Yes.
So that's going to be huge because obviously people love him and I'm excited. So those are kind of the two big things, but hopefully we might hear some more stuff since they're all in Punta Cana right now.
That's exciting.
I know. I wish I was in Punta Cana right now.
Right? Yeah. Wow.
No, this is crazy. Let me see if I can show you my screen and you guys can really see that, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Can you see? Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I can lead my presentation. I'm sad you can't see me.
We don't get to see your pretty face.
Oh, I'm bummed. Oh my gosh. Okay. So whenever you're ready for me, I will start, but I'm here.
Perfect. Jill, did you hit record? I can't tell on my cell phone.
Yes. Yep, I did.
Thank you.
We're good.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Awesome. Let me make this bigger. Okay. Still good?
Yep.
Can you guys see that? Okay, let me see if I can close this. Is that better? Now you can just see the slide.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Okay, cool. If anything happens, I can't see you guys anymore. Obviously, you can see what's on my screen. So just shout out if anything happens and you need me. All right. Well, I am so excited that you guys have asked me to speak on your team call. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caterina Passereli, and I am somewhere in your upline somewhere. I call my giant team that you guys are all a part of Team Movement. I've been a coach for probably going on 8 years now. I'm a 3-star diamond in my first business center and a diamond in my second business center. And for the last few years, I am a full-time Beachbody coach. And I previously went to college for English and journalism, and then which goes hand in hand with the power of telling stories. So right now I can pretend like I'm using my degree in talking to you guys. But after I graduated, which I signed up to be a coach during my senior year of college, and then right out of college, I got a job at our local NBC affiliate here in Detroit, where I worked. I started as a writer and then later was producing my own shows. And during that time, I still built my Beachbody business. I felt so passionately about this and so strongly that I knew I needed to be consistent with it and to just give it my all. And it paid off because after 2 years at the news, I decided that I was ready to step back from that, and I was able to resign when I was 24 years old to be a full-time Beachbody coach. And so that's part of a story right there. I wanted to talk to you guys about the power of telling stories because I feel like we're a company based on stories. Think about it. What are the infomercials packed with? Testimonials, stories of real life, everyday people that get you motivated to do the programs or that get you thinking, okay, I like her story and I think I could be a coach too. So telling stories is actually, I feel like it's a craft that's overlooked, but it's something that if you can get good at, it's a lot easier to do this business because you feel like you're not even selling. And I know so many people sign up to be Beachbody coaches and one of their biggest fears is being a salesperson. None of us are just naturally salesy. So I feel like if you have that fear within you somewhere of just like, oh, I think I'm going to say the wrong thing because I'm going to come off salesy, I feel like always share a story. Let's see. Now my presentation is, oh, here we go. Yay. Okay. Sorry, guys. So why tell stories? I think you should tell stories because there's a saying that says facts tell, stories sell. And I've heard that since the beginning of my coaching journey when I just dug deep into personal development. And because you can say so many facts about Shakeology. You can tell someone every ingredient in there. But most people, they're not going to care. What they're going to care about is what Shakeology did for you, what Shakeology can do for them, or how it's changed your life, because that's relatable. It's not relatable to know every single ingredient and what it does to you. Most people, their eyes are going to glaze over and they're going to feel like you just vomited information and facts all over them, and they're not going to remember that. But a lot of people can remember the stories they've been told. And stories allow you to customize them to speak to your customer avatar. So if you're talking to your friend Susie and she is asking you questions about joining the team and you think she's just like you can share your story. But let's say you're talking to another friend who has a question about Shakeology, and you might not be able to exactly relate to that, but you know of another coach on our team, you can speak to their story. And stories they help you to realize that when your customer hears your story, they might be able to think to themselves, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that comes with if you tell it correctly. Now, I know a lot of people, including myself, always say, but I don't have a story. I don't have a story. I said that when I first joined. I had originally lost 15 pounds with Turbo Jam, and I thought, big deal. There are people in infomercials who've lost 100. Who's going to care about 15 pounds? Those were my exact words. But one day I decided that I loved the program so much, and I just was like obsessed with Chalene Johnson that I wrote a blog about how much I loved Turbo Jam and how it changed my life. And then after I wrote that blog, I thought to myself, I should really just send it in and kind of like pay it forward to Chalene. So I sent it into Beachbody and off it went. Well, I got an email. I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I got an email out of nowhere, and it said, do you want to be in the new Turbo show? And I didn't know what that meant, but it ended up meaning, do you want to be in the Turbo Fire infomercial? And I thought, this is crazy to me. And it came from that blog. They called me on the phone and they further interviewed me, asking me more questions about my story. And then they turned around and asked me to be part of the infomercial. And I'm that same girl who said, I don't have a story. So they saw that I was relatable to a certain audience that they must not have already had in their success story lineup. And so there you go. So if you're thinking you don't have a story, you do. And I'm here to tell you that. And I just put up some examples of stories that we have within our businesses. So you could have a story about a fitness program. You could have a story about 5 fitness programs. If you've done different ones, you have different stories right there. You have a Shakeology story, an ultimate reset or 3-day refresh story, and not on the screen, but you also have stories about the supplements, the boosts, any program or derm exclusive. I'm thinking of all kinds of stories right now. You have a story about the community of coaches, the coaching opportunity, personal development. If you started personal development since you've become a coach, there's a story in that too. So there are so many different stories that you can have within this business. So you can't use the excuse, I don't have a story. Let me see if I can move this out. Okay. So the best stories have a few similar points, according to me. They have a likable hero, which is going to be yourself, or if you're featuring one of your challengers or one of your coaches, they're going to encounter roadblocks and struggles. We all do, and that's what makes us relatable. Because if you live a picture-perfect life, nobody cares, and they probably don't want to join your team. They don't want to do the fitness program because nobody wants to join the person who's never had a struggle. In the best stories, they decide to make a change, and then emerges transformed. That's our before is here. Here's our after. Okay, so there's different parts of a story. Hopefully this lets me click through. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I want you guys to, when you're thinking of your story, lead with your before and talk about your before. And I know that sometimes that makes us uncomfortable because in our befores, we haven't reached our goal. You haven't lost any weight. You haven't made $1 with coaching. And who knows, whatever your before was like, you're in debt. You are struggling to have the energy to chase your kids around. Sometimes it's hard to admit that stuff, right? And we want to pretend like, oh yeah, I didn't have that extra 15 pounds. But if we don't tell people and we don't lead with our befores, they're not going to relate to us, and then they're not going to care about our story. So I want to encourage you to also to talk to your before. What would your before person care about? What would capture their attention, and what would speak to them? And most likely that's you sharing the daily struggles that you're going through, because that's where they're at today. They can relate to that more than they can relate to the person who is a full-time Beachbody coach. Explain being presented with, and this depends on what story you're telling. So we have a bunch of different ways. Explain being presented with fitness program, Shakeology, coaching, how you've done it. Paint a picture of how you got it done. This is where, like in journalism, we would say the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Put it out there for them. Explain, hey, I thought this stuff too. And then in their head, they might be thinking, oh yeah, I totally think that too. I'm not a shake drinker, or I've never done a workout program at home. I love the gym. But then you explain how you realized that those objections weren't true to your story. And then you celebrate your success. And then if they've gone along with you on this journey, then they're going to be happy to celebrate with you. And they're going to think, okay, I want those results too. Speak to your avatar. So we all have a different customer avatar, and most likely your customer avatar is someone just like you. So I want you to, after this, I'll give you some homework, and I want you to identify who your avatar is. Who is that person that you are writing posts to or filming videos for? Who are you talking to? Even give him or her a name, but know their age and their goals, their struggles, their daily life, the program you think they love and why they would love it. Think about all that stuff when you are selecting which part of your story to share. So today, for example, I shared a before and after photo that I went to the 21 Day Fix Facebook page and I found. Now, here's a bonus tip. Every single workout program that Beachbody has put out has a social media page, or at least a Facebook page. And what they do is they give you the before and afters and a little bit of that person's story so that you can use it on your social media if you choose to. So let's say you don't have a before and after of you today that you want to share, or you just shared yours last week and you're like, okay, I want to mix it up and show someone else. But you don't have any challengers who have stories together yet. Go to one of these pages. I love going to the programs that I love because I know what? My customer avatar is going to like them too. So I went to the 21 Day Fix page and I found a girl similar to who I think my before would be, and showed what I think she'd like her after to be. And I elaborated on her story. So Beachbody gave some of a story in that post, but I spoke a little more to her before. And I'm going to show you an exact example in a minute, but I want you to really think about your customer avatar. And when you go to these pages, think, what would she or he be interested in? How much weight does that person need to lose? So I probably am not going to share all the time stories of someone who's lost 100 pounds, because my customer avatar, that she doesn't need to lose 100 pounds, probably between 30 and below. So I'm going to find people who can relate to that, and then and share her story. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so I'm going to put up a bunch of questions, and once they're all up, you can feel free to take a picture, but I can also give you these slides at the end. So here are some questions to ask yourself and to answer. So if you're putting together a story for yourself, then I'd like you to just obviously answer these yourself. But if you're collecting a story for one of your coaches, so whenever I give a coach a shout out, I like to ask them some questions about themselves, so I'm not just like pulling things out of the air. I'll even say, hey, can you fill in this sentence? And I'll say something like, before coaching I blank, since coaching I blank. And I like to get their responses so I can put their story together for them. So here are some other questions that you can think of. And these are all related to fitness programs, but I want you to know that these are interchangeable with being a Beachbody coach in your business. So one question you could think to ask yourself, or you can ask a challenger if you want to give them a shout out, would be, tell us about your life before you started the program. How did you feel about yourself and your body? This is the talking to your before. This is the question that's going to be so relatable to the person on the other end of your phone, social media. This is what they care about. What inspired you to change your life and begin your transformation story? What is the greatest challenge you faced before beginning the program? See, these are still the befores. These are still the relatable things that people are going to read and think, yeah, I'd like to be inspired to, because I'm a new mom, and my greatest challenge is I'm a new mom and I don't have time. How did the program coaching help you overcome that challenge? This is you showing them, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. What in particular did you like about the program you chose? So I know that I like to share 21 Day Fix. I like to share size and turbo. I love dancing. So I know that probably my avatar is into that too. So I'm going to share, oh, I didn't even realize 30 minutes was done and I was dancing in my living room and that was a workout. See, that can relate to my customer avatar. They might be thinking like, heck yeah, I want that too. Describe the results you achieved. What accomplishments are you proud of? How did participating in a challenge group help you reach your goals? How did your coach support you on your journey? So I think that's the last one if you guys want to take a picture. But guess what? Guess where I found these questions? I found them on the Beachbody Challenge website. What? Shocker. Yeah, Beachbody gave you all the great points of a story. These questions, this stuff right here is how you make a winning infomercial. By asking these questions to people and having them answer them on camera, and then they use these answers and put them in the infomercials. That's how you tell a story right there. So if you're not taking a photo, or if later you forget where you put it or whatever, just know you can go to our Team Beachbody websites, click on Beachbody Challenge, and if you click any of the stories, you will see the winners, their answers to all these questions. And now we're going to break one down. I want to show you, this is a pretty, so here's a fitness program and example. This is Melissa, and this is her before, but I want you to know that this is a big story. This encompasses a lot. But when you're sharing a story, you can make it super small, and you could give like a little breadcrumb of a story, which I'll explain in a second. But let's just look at the big story, for example. So I took some of her quotes, and I want to show you exactly how you can weave this all together. So here's her before. This is how she would answer the before I started, or this is the stuff that makes her relatable. I was the unhealthiest and unhappiest that I have ever been. I have struggled with weight for over a decade, and it hit an all-time high after I gained 70 plus pounds during my pregnancy. Okay, if you are someone who's a mom, I'm sure you can look at that gaining weight during pregnancy and think, wow, I can relate to that. This one, I can relate to myself. I'm not a mom, but I can relate to this next one. I thought healthy was portioned frozen dinners and fat-free, low-calorie foods. I feel like a lot of us have thought that. When I read that, I was like, that's so relatable. And then before I started my journey, I'd spend an hour trying on everything I owned, and then I'd cry because I hated how I look. A lot of people probably won't admit that, but I feel like many women have had the moment standing in front of the mirror thinking, I hate this. So that makes her super relatable. She didn't lead with, hey guys, I lost a ton of weight and now I look great, ha ha ha. No, she started off with, hey guys, this is where I was. And this is probably where the person who's seeing her post on Facebook, this is the part that they can relate to. Her inspiration to change. So she put, I was a new mom and I needed to get healthy for my family. That's big right there. That's a huge sentence. I couldn't carry her daughter, and all the gear around without getting extremely winded. I wanted to be a mom who can chase her kids and keep up with them on and off the playground. I feel like somebody who is a parent can look at these things and think, yeah, I want to be that mom too. So again, these things are relatable, and this is painting the picture of why she did what she did, why she worked out and drank Shakeology and changed her life. What do you like about the program? So that's another question that you saw on the screen. So these are her quotes. I really love that the 21-day fix taught me how to look at food. That's big. Remember the quote earlier about like the frozen foods? I feel like that person who could relate to that is going to look at this and think, oh, I'd like to know how to look at food. Shakeology was a lifesaver for a new mom, but also as someone who wasn't good at eating before noon. I think a lot of people can also relate to that. And she wrote, I'm a completely different person now thanks to Beachbody. I don't pick apart my flaws when I see photos of myself. Instead, my eyes gravitate towards everything I love. If I could put like 1,000,000 hearts around that quote, I would, because I absolutely love that. And I think women especially beat themselves up. And to see that somebody else feels this and they might look at it and think, I would love to do that. So I want to share some examples with you about coaching story ideas. I feel like the fitness stuff is kind of obvious, but we just picked one apart. We just explained that whole fitness story. But the coaching stories, I feel like sometimes people struggle with these, and I'm guilty of that too. So I wanted to break down just a few ideas of what you could share about how coaching has changed your life. So you could share a story about your new fit family, right? I didn't realize when I joined as a Team Beachbody coach that I would have all these like-minded people around me, or that I'd have a team of people. That was something I had no idea was going to come from coaching. And you can share a story about that. You could even share a story about a specific person or the whole team, or just anything related to the Team Beachbody community. That's a story in and of itself. You could also share a story about paying a smaller bill, the internet, electricity, paying big bills, the car or the mortgage. I remember I would share the story about when I first joined, and I remember going to the college bookstore and buying a semester's worth of books, which you guys know is not cheap. And I walked out of there thinking like, dang, that was a lot of money. And then it happened to be like a Thursday, so I checked my Beachbody account and I had made the same amount as I just paid in books. And I thought, holy crap, this is insane. Like, that blew my mind. And then I hope I made a post about that. That was 1,000,000 years ago, but that was a moment where I was like, wow, this is a thing. Like, this is happening. So I think actually these stories are more relatable than saying like, I make 6 figures. But sometimes people think, hey, that's so far away from me, or that's never going to happen for me. But I just saw this girl I went to high school with. She's in a different multi-level marketing company, but she wrote about like how she just paid her internet bill from her company. And I feel like other people looked at that, and I saw it and I was like, good for you for posting that, because I think that's something people can relate to much more. And they'll think, okay, wow, if I could just have something else in my life that would help pay for the car payment, that would change everything. So if you can explain that, like, that's what coaching has brought to you. Things you didn't know would come with coaching. Like I said, for me, that was a fit family, but maybe there's something else in your life that you're like, wow, I had no idea being a Team Beachbody coach meant this, and this is awesome. So share that. Skills you've learned, social media, your mindset change if you're doing personal development, anything that you've learned because of coaching or what it's opened the doors for you, share that stuff. Events, the free trips you've earned, summit, leadership, if you go to like a Shalene training or just any kind of training to better your business, those are all story ideas. And there's a gazillion more. I just wanted a few just to show you that, that there are stories out there that aren't just related to like, I quit my job. Okay, sometimes that's even a stretch. Okay, I feel like some of these smaller things that seem small are actually so big to other people. Don't discount your story. Where to share your story. This is an obvious slide because I really want to say everywhere, share it everywhere. But any social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, the Beachbody Challenge, YouTube, your website, go live on any of the programs. Oh, I forgot Snapchat. I love Snapchat. Put it everywhere. Just put your story everywhere you can, okay? Because people are going to miss it in one platform and you're going to see it in another, and they're going to be like, oh, wow, I saw you put it over on Instagram, but I haven't been on Facebook. And so just put it out there, okay? So I have some homework for you guys. So we talked about it. I don't have it on this slide, bad me, but your first homework was your customer avatar. Now, your second homework is I want you to make 2 lists. The first list is going to be, how has a Beachbody fitness program, Shakeology, the supplements, whatever, changed your life? Make a list and just free brainstorm. Like, don't judge anything. Just write down everything you can think of, everything. And it should, I hope it's like pages long. Okay, just go for it. Write down everything you can think of, as well as how has the coaching opportunity changed your life. Now, if you're a brand new coach, like day 1, and you're like, okay, coaching opportunity hasn't really changed my life, I want you to write down what excites you about Beachbody coaching. What do you look forward to? And hey, if you've been a coach and you have a bunch of things that have changed your life, you can still write some things down that excite you about being a coach. And when you have these 2 lists, I want you to keep them somewhere safe. Like, take a picture with them on your phone and carry them around with you, because every single one of those little points, every little bullet you come up with, that's a story. That could be a breadcrumb to a bigger story, but you don't have to share your huge story every day. You can share just a little piece of it. And so all of these bullets, all of these, everything that comes from this list, you're going to walk away with this homework and you're going to have a million ideas for stories. Okay. And even if you remember, if you're thinking, like, when you look at one of your bullets and you think, this is not really a story, I don't have a story, you do. And then I want you to pick a day of the week where you start sharing or breadcrumbing these stories. These are just 2 like examples I came up with. Transformation Tuesday is an obvious one for any fitness stuff. And then I just totally made up I Love Coaching Thursday. but just pick a day where you want to try to stay consistent with sharing stories. And I will admit, this is something I can be so much better at. Like, I'm not as good as being consistent with sharing the stories, but I will tell you this, when I throw up those before and after photos, it's rare that I don't sell a challenge back, because people, I fine tune it. I pick the exact story that I think is going to relate to my person. And then I share the story. And it does, and it relates to them. And half the time I get these messages from people thinking, like, were you reading my mind? Like, and I'm thinking, yes, I was. No, but I just know what's going to relate to the people that I want to talk to. And so I will say this, like, if you can get consistent with sharing these stories, and don't just do the fitness ones. Those ones, I know they're so easy to do, right? There's so many out there and you're just like, okay, you don't, maybe I'm wrong and you share about coaching every day, but that's rare, I think. But try to include some stuff about coaching. And if you get stuck, refer back to that list that you made about how has the coaching opportunity changed your life, because you're going to find something. Even the smallest thing, you're going to find it and you're going to think, okay, I can share this today. And it won't be spammy or salesy, because I'm just sharing a story of something that happened to me from my heart, putting it out there, sharing the before, showing along the way, and maybe somebody else can relate to this and want to know more about it. All right. So I talked as fast as I could. I am an extremely fast speaker. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, but I see that the time is up there for 10 minutes. So I am happy to take any questions. I know you guys can't see me, so I'm just going to stay up on this slide. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Actually, I could probably stop my share. I'm going to be like a black square probably. But I can still, now I can see you guys. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, I'm happy to answer them about the stories, or if you want to ask me a question about anything, you can.
Thank you, Kat. That was really good.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me speak. And sorry, I totally screwed it up when you're like, share about the content. I'm like, oh no.
No, this was good. This was good. You're fine.
this is a million ways to never run out of content. If you actually make those lists, then you'll always have an idea for like, I don't know what to post for today.
That is true. I really liked the point that you made about like the coaching story ideas with this, like the small wins, because I always think about like, oh, you know, especially before I was able to quit my full-time job and start coaching, I never knew what to care about the coaching opportunity. So I think that's huge.
Thank you. And I feel like I could get so much better at that too, because like when I saw my friend's post about paying one of her bills, I thought, okay, that's so much more relatable than saying I'm a 6-figure earner. People aren't going to relate to that as much. So I'm trying to think like, okay, let's go back and think of the things that like really fired me up or they got me so excited and share those things. Like, I feel like it's much more relatable to say I paid for my college books than I quit my job. And so I think sometimes people wait for the moment they can say, I quit my job, woohoo! And then they think, yeah, then everybody's going to join my team. But no, share the little things along the way, because that's so much more relatable. And I feel like being relatable is a way to actually have people want to do what you're doing too.
Sorry. Sorry, I've been up for a long time. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I do. So you make your list, and then even if it's like pages and pages, how do you keep that fresh? Like, so if you're using it regularly and you're kind of checking them off, then do you kind of make a new list? Because you're probably trying like new programs or other things. Like, how do you keep that fresh?
Well, you can make a brand new list if you want, or just like when we track people's names that we're talking to, you can just add on to that list. And you don't have to go in order of the stories. You can just like flip to it and think, what do I want to talk about today? So even if it's like the last bullet on the page, because it's the freshest, you can use that one.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you think of something and it's not on your list, you can still post about it.
Yeah. I just know if you ever still like, that was definitely like, for me, I'm going to start making the list right away. Cause sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over, and, or the same like adjacent thing. Like it's the same change that took place. It might be a different outcome or whatever, but that it was the same change, So, yeah, so that's definitely helpful. But I didn't know if you remade your list a lot or if you just kind of add to it. But yeah, that answers. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I think I did a couple months ago, maybe. I made a list and I went like live in Team Movement, and I was like, I'm doing this because I hadn't done it in a while. And I really started realizing, I need to talk more about the coaching opportunity. And what's crazy is when I was making my list, it made me so grateful all over again. And like sometimes you have to sit there and you really have to think of like even the littlest stuff. I wish I had my list. I read some of them off in that video if you can find it. I went through like my list and I was like, here are some things. Even like the fact, like something so small, like my upline. Like I didn't know her before this. We met on Facebook, and that's something where I was like, wow, I never thought I would have like her as a mentor. Or, like, oh, that Janelle Summers would be on our team and as a mentor, and I watched her on the Turbo Jam videos. Like, I got like super, even like small, like even silly things. I was like, I'm going to put them on this list. So just like clear your mind, no judgment. No one has to ever look at your list. And just write whatever you can think of down.
Perfect.
Any more questions? You have 5 minutes. Any comments? Anyone want to plan to share a story soon or have any ideas now?
I have started doing, I don't know if you want to call it like a challenge or whatever, but I've started posting in our team page every morning with like just this week, with like a challenge for everyone of what to do that day. So I think we should challenge everyone to do a story sometime this week.
Yeah, there you go.
That way, and then we've been like, once we do the challenge, everyone comments with like in the comments on our team page with a link to their post, so then we can kind of give each other some love. So
yeah, social media army. That's good.
But yeah, we should pick a day.
Yeah, you guys should. And remember, even something super tiny is a story. Like you could make it a story.
Do you do a lot of, I know you pull a lot from like the Beachbody Challenge website, but do you ever do stories of your own challengers? Like, do you do that frequently or not?
Not frequently. I should though. That's
Yeah.
a great idea. I have in the past, if I'll ask them permission. Like, do you mind? Sometimes people are like, no, they're not in the Beachbody coach mentality yet, where we're just like, here's a million sweaty selfies of me. Sometimes people, that's like new to them. You're like, what do you mean I can't post that? No, but yeah, I think that's a great idea is to give your own challengers a shout out, because that not only makes them feel good and that's celebrating them, but that's also social proof to the rest of your friends and followers that, hey, you can help more people than just you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, like for myself, I noticed when I was just sharing about me all the time, or like my story over and over, I think sometimes people think like, okay, that's great, she can help herself. And then you have to remind people like, no, I'm a coach, I can help all these people too. And so sometimes when you give other people shout outs they're like, oh, okay, like I can relate to that too. Or, oh wow, that challenge group thing she talks about, people are doing that. And that's proof of that too. That's a good tip.
I've done like probably 3 or 4 of them in the past year, and they've always been super successful. Like,
you got this.
Yeah. I haven't done it in a while. Like, I've been slacking.
I haven't done it in a while either. But yeah,
they've always been good.
I think it's hard sometimes to find challengers that, like you said, that are willing to put themselves out there, even if it's in your words. Like, I have a couple right now that are like super committed, so I'm hoping that they will allow me the opportunity to share their story. But unfortunately, I think they're of the generation that they're going to be like, absolutely not.
But sometimes, like, how you just framed the question was great. So you could, when you message them privately, I would message them and I would say something like that. Would you allow me the opportunity to post? Like, it would mean so much to me to share your story, because I think it's going to inspire so many people. I'm so proud of what you've done.
Yeah.
And you share it like that, and you like lift them up in it. Because they might be thinking like I did, I don't have a story. Why would anybody want to hear about that? But as coaches, we know that's a story, and we're like proud. So sometimes it takes somebody else pointing it out in like a very nice uplifting way to get them to say, okay, yeah, I guess I'll let you do that.
Yeah. I'm hopeful.
And then if they don't, you can go steal one from one of the social media pages. And then maybe if they see.
Never even thought about that, because I didn't want to come across as like, I don't know what I thought. I don't know what I thought, but I just always felt like that would feel like people would be like, you don't even know that person. You just.
But how did they know?
But
how
they
do they
wouldn't know that? Right, exactly.
Yeah, they don't know that you don't know that person.
It's like an irrational fear. I don't know what it is. It's like,
right. So no, they don't
know them. Yeah.
Hey, one time, you guys, I totally shared one, and the girl found it, and she was like, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing my story. And she friended me, and now we're friends. And I was like, you're welcome. You look amazing. Like, I am happy to share. It's like, that's crazy. That's exactly what you're probably nervous about happening, like someone seeing it. But no, they submit their stories to Beachbody, and they know Beachbody put them out there. They're totally cool with it. And that girl was like honored that I shared her 21-day fix story, and we're friends.